Israel is continuing its attacks on Lebanon. This is the aftermath of a strike on Beirut's southern suburbs. The Israeli military says it is targeting sites of Iran's proxy, Hezbollah. Israel's army has also begun limited ground operations against the militant group. The offensive is displacing hundreds of thousands of people in Lebanon. And there are concerns about the growing humanitarian crisis there. So, is diplomacy still on the table? For that, we've reached Lebanon's Minister of Justice, Adel Nassar, in Beirut. Thank you so much for making time for us today.
Welcome.
We know that Israel has said its troops have begun limited ground operations against Hezbollah positions in southern Lebanon. What is the situation like on the ground right now with these operations underway?
There are, unfortunately, military operations that Israel is conducting on the ground and also targeting various regions of Lebanon. And we have hundreds of killed people. We have thousands of injured. We have a massive destruction. And as you said, more than 1 million displaced people. So it's clear that Lebanon is suffering from a dramatic situation and is exposed to all the very difficult and dramatic consequences of the war.
You know, how concerned is the government about those innocent individuals perhaps getting caught up in crossfire if these sorts of actions continue or escalate or expand? And what sorts of actions might the Lebanese government may be taking to try and mitigate the risk?
Currently, the government of Lebanon is taking a number of initiatives in order to address all this dramatic situation, providing as much as possible, shelters, providing support to the displaced persons, and the army is trying to do its best to protect the population. However, the situation is very difficult. Lebanon is facing, as I said, a disproportionate reaction of Israel, but on the other hand, also there is Hezbollah, who is holding weapons against the will of the government and is conducting military operations without the control of the government. Hezbollah today's actions and military activity are against the law, and there are measures that have been taken to control the situation, but let's say that the challenge is huge.
Now, we do know that the Lebanese government had responded by banning the actions of Hezbollah within Lebanon itself and by deeming it illegal, the activities of Hezbollah. Has that shift been effective in trying to stop the group from continuing to use Lebanon? And if not, what other actions is the Lebanese government considering?
First of all, it's important to understand that Lebanon has taken, or the government of Lebanon has taken decisions regarding the monopoly of the weapons and the monopoly of military from the right beginning of the formation of this government. However, it was 30 years of ambiguities that has to have an end. So what happened is that the government of Lebanon, since its formation, has put clearly in its governmental declaration that is presented to the parliament, it has been stated very clearly that the government will act in the direction of the monopoly of the military and the weapons. So this was an internal decision that has been taken by the government of Lebanon. Afterwards, the government of Lebanon took another decision to put into execution the fact that monopoly has to be secured, and this decision was taken, and the military or the army was asked to start a plan to gather all the weapons and to ensure the monopoly of weapons. Then, after the launch of rockets by Hezbollah, because Hezbollah recognized or declared that they launched the rockets. It was 6 rockets. And after this launch of rockets, the governor of Lebanon banned all military activities in a clear manner and making it clear that Hezbollah has no legitimacy whatsoever to continue its military activity. And there was a court decision that has clearly stated that the fact that you belong to Hezbollah is not a reason or an excuse under the concept of resistance to keep, hold, or use weapons. The sanction was not very high, and there was a lot of comments on that. But again, the principle was clearly stated by a court, and it was the first time. I believe that the issue of the illegality of the weapons of Hezbollah will be, enforced more and more, because this is very important for Lebanon in an internal perspective in order to build the state. Moreover, controlling the decision of war and peace is fundamental for Lebanon. Accordingly, the issue of Hezbollah is a real problem, an internal problem, before trying to address the issue in the international relations and in the war launched by Israel against Lebanon. The war launched by Israel is disproportionate, but we consider in Lebanon that there are 2 major problems: the attacks of Israel on one hand, and the fact that Hezbollah is still refusing to abide by the decisions of the government on the other hand. And the way you can analyze the behavior of Hezbollah is that Hezbollah is acting as if they are part of the defensive system of Iran, which is far away from Lebanese interests.
We know certainly that diplomacy has been, the idea of diplomacy has been floated, and that the French President Emmanuel Macron has said that Paris is perhaps willing to mediate. We just heard from Israel's ambassador to the United Nations saying that there are some players who have come forward indicating that they would mediate. Is that something that Lebanon is looking to do, engage in diplomatic conversations with Israel, and are there currently plans for that to take place?
The government of Lebanon clearly considers that it is in the interest of Lebanon to move the confrontation, let's say, with Israel in the political and diplomatical ground, and not to keep the country in the military ground. It is clear also that in order to be efficient and to have an upper hand in any diplomatical process, Lebanon should be able to control its own territory and not to have a political party holding weapons and not under the control of the state. Unfortunately, until now, Hezbollah is still opposing to surrender their weapons to the Lebanese state, which undermines the capacity for the Lebanese government to be efficient in the diplomatical area or ground. But it is clear that it is the interest of Lebanon to stop the war, because this war is very destructive. This war is having terrible consequences on the country, on the human lives, on the properties, etc. And it is clear that it is in the Lebanese interest to go to the diplomatical path instead of remaining in the military confrontation. And in any event, Lebanon's intent is to go to a diplomatical process, but it is clear also that the efficiency of such diplomatical process will be dependent also on the control of the actions of Hezbollah.
Mr. Nassar, I want to thank you so much for joining us today and for your thoughts on this. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
That is Adel Nassar. He is Lebanon's Minister of Justice. Thank you.